welcome to my webinar today. And today I'm going to be talking about how to never run out of content. So our webinar today is majorly focused on content creation, the process, and ensuring that you always have content to post and understanding how to create the content that resonates with your customers, that resonates for your business, that appeal to your customers and your target audience. And some of the things that we're going to be covering in this webinar include how to create with ease, actually, and I'm going to be sharing some practical tips, content creation tips. And since I have a diverse group of people joining me, we have businesses, we have creatives, we have entrepreneurs, and we have small business owners that are joining me for this webinar. I'm going to be talking using case studies, about 3 case studies for you to be able to understand some of the content creation processes that work for different type of businesses and brands. And also I'm going to be sharing some tools that I use that have been working for me effectively, and also some strategies with you. And also then we're going to go into next steps. So if you don't mind, as you've joined us, just leave in the chats your name, what you do, and what you hope to get from this webinar. So these are some of the things that we're going to be covering in this webinar. And yeah, so for those of you who are just joining for the first time or joining any of my webinar for the first time, my name is Phoebe and I am an audio engineer, creator, and an educator. So I've been creating content majorly for over 7 years now. I've been working with brands to tell stories and to tell, to tell compelling stories and also to connect with audiences. I've tried a lot of, different content creation processes, and I have come to understand some of the things that help you create engaging contents. And that's the reason why I'm sharing with you today some of the things that I've learned via my Backstage 360 webinar. And this webinar is just to help you understand some of the processes that I have gone through, that I've used, and just to share some of my own practical steps to help you, understand how to never run out of content and how to always be able to create contents for your brand or for your personal business or for, whatever aspect of your business that you are actually at right now. First thing first, when it comes to content, is one thing you should always remember is that when anybody comes to yours, so the construct of this webinar is just to ensure that we're talking about building your online engagement. I'm not talking about brick and mortar. Right now, everybody here is actually, if you're looking at creating content, you're actually looking at, building an online presence. And one thing you need to always keep in mind is that whenever anybody comes to your page, the first thing they're looking for is what you have on your page. So it's regularly content, and and the best way to think about content is like contents are like a gateway to showcase you, to showcase what you do, to showcase who you are. And if you see content that way, it becomes much more easier to be able to create what resonates with you and what resonates with your audience. But before you do that, before you start creating any content, there are so many things that you need to, there are a lot of things that you might have to consider, and which I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm going to be sharing some tips. I'm going to be sharing tips and on how to create content, right? So as you're joining us, thank you for joining. Please write in the chats your name, where you're joining us from, and also what you wish to learn from this webinar. And please keep your videos and your mics muted so that we can have the best experience in this webinar. So like I said, the first thing you need to consider is some of the things that would help you before you start even creating content. I think one of the reasons why a lot of people get stuck is not understanding some of these basic principles. And I'm going to be sharing some like 10 tips. Actually, there are a lot more tips than this, but for the sake of this webinar, I'm just going to be sharing some of my 10 top tips for you to create content with ease. And to break them down, we're going to be looking at your understanding your goals, understanding your audience, creating, you have to create your buyer persona. We're going to be looking at pain points. We're going to be looking at what channels can you explore, what CTA means, and I'm going to be sharing some things about the 80 80-20 rule, and also gathering ideas and creating a calendar. Because a lot of people, it's not the content that is the problem, it's staying consistent and being able to, create content on the go. And for you to be able to do that, you have to always have, bulk of content. You have to have a content idea bank. And we're going to be talking about most of this and how to do all of this in this webinar. Yeah, so first things first, before you create any content, is to understand who you're creating the content for, what type of content you want to create, and also where you want to post this content. Because these are majorly the three major factors when it comes to creating your content. You want to understand who you are creating the content for, what kind of content are you creating for this person, and where exactly will this person find this content? And that would now talk about your online space and also some platforms that you need to explore. So the first tip here is, what do you want to achieve? Especially when it comes to creating content, whatever business that you are running, you have to always have a goal in mind. Why create this content? Before you create any content, you need to understand what your goals are. What exactly do you want to achieve? Do you want to gain more traffic? Like, you want to drive more traffic to your Instagram page? You want people to know you? You want to improve your audience engagement? You want your audience to connect with you? You want your audience to know more about your business? Or do you just want to, you want more leads generation? And most of the time, these are things that you need to try and break down. So if you break this down consistently and you understand why you're creating this content, it makes it easier for you to be able to create the right content for the right audience. Then the next thing you want to also consider is, who are you reaching out to? Every business, no matter how generic your product is, you must be able to identify who your audience is, because it makes it easier for you to relate. Content creation is relative. Something that is that appeals to me might not appeal to you, except you are an actor, or maybe you are a stand-up comedian and you are making content that makes everybody laugh. I mean, there are some comedians that, even as a comedian, you still have to understand who your audience is, because not every comedian appeals to you. Sometimes I might not vibe with a particular comedian and I might vibe with another particular comedian. It depends. So that's why you have to understand that, okay, your content is relative. Not everybody will vibe to what you're doing. So you have to first identify who your people are. Who are your people? How do they think? What are they looking for on the internet? How can you best serve these people with your products or services? So any business, any brand, you have to first identify who your customers are. And another way to be able to do that is to create a buyer persona. I know that if you have read a lot of marketing terms, you've watched videos, you hear buyer persona a lot, and you're like, it feels like it's a lot of, a lot of grammar, a lot of big English. But at the end of the day, what it simply means is that you are creating like an ideal client, an ideal customer, somebody who you can relate with. You're making your customer relatable, even though maybe you're a new person, you're a new business, you're a new brand, you're just starting out. No matter who you are, you should be able to say, okay, this is the person that I am reaching out to first. Most of the time, you might have more than one type of customers, and you would want to break that down. For me, as a content creator, or as a creator, or as an audio engineer, I know that my clients, or the people that I'm reaching out to, are majorly, I'll majorly be working with event producers. I'm working with studio owners. I'm working with musicians. I'm working with artists. So those are my type of audience. So if I look at this now, and if you see what I have here, I'm tagging my first buyer persona as Shade, and saying meet Shade. So maybe Shade is an event planner who wants to plan an event and is looking for somebody to handle sound, or somebody to create, somebody to help them take care of the production aspect of things. I can then say, okay, where would Shade be looking for things like this? Most of the time, Shade might just go on Google to find somebody, or would ask friends. And that's where I would have to position myself in places where people can easily get to know me, people can understand what I do, and I am able to catch the attention of Shade, to know that, okay, so that's how when I understand what Shade is looking for, I can be able to target some of the pain points that Shade is looking at. And another thing to always remember is, I prefer people referring to their persona in the first name basis, because it makes it more relatable. You are able to connect, you're able to put yourself in the shoe of your, of your client or of your customer. You're able to connect with them on a more deeper level and see what they want and what they need. So it makes it relatable. If you don't understand who your customer is, you definitely not be able to serve them what they actually want. And the best way to be able to create content is to be able to understand who your customer is, and what they want, what they are looking for, and how your product or your service can best serve them. All right. Then the next thing would be understanding your customer's pain points. I mean, the simplest tip for creating a content is to think from the perspective of solving a problem. So when you understand that, okay, Shade is an event planner, I'm using myself as an example now, and Shade wants somebody to, handle sound production or technical aspect of the event, let's say production, and Shade is looking for somebody who she can work with. And first off, most of the time, Shade will probably look in a circle, but let's assume that she doesn't have anybody in a circle. The first place she goes to is to go online and find somebody who understands or who gets what she's doing. So for me, what I would have done would be to I would have created posts and things that would help Shade understand, okay, what are the things she needs to do to be able to plan an event. I would create, content around, okay, event planning tips, event production tips. What are the people that you need for your event? And after giving her that, I will let her know that, okay, if you need somebody to handle your event, this is how you can reach me. And so it makes it simple. So anytime she goes online or she's searching for, somebody who does that, as long as I'm consistent online, it's most likely that my page or my Instagram page or something will pop up some way or the other to be able to show that, oh, Shade can actually, if she's searching for an audio engineer, she can easily see that and say, oh, this person. And not just that, because I'm posting content that reflects what she wants, it makes it easier. So how do you define your customer's pain point? First off, you have to understand what is Shade's, okay, I'm using Shade now as our buyer persona, right? What's her biggest concern when it comes to your particular product or services? So if you're a fashion designer, you're looking at, okay, what is Shade's biggest concern when it comes to styling herself or going for an Owambe event? You're looking at something like that, and you can then begin to pinpoint some of those things and use them as content. That's how you generate content for your clients and for your target audience. And then let's say, okay, you don't even know who your clients are, and you don't even know what type of content they will respond to. The best way to understand your clients is to ask questions. Ask the right questions from your customers, from your existing customer. At least you worked with one person. You've worked with one person who enjoys your services or who enjoyed your products. You can ask them, what are the barriers? What are the challenges they've had with your products? What are the things that they would want to know more about when using your products? So those are some of the ways you can be able to generate content. And then another thing is you have to engage with your audience. So you can't just be an island of yourself and expect that you know everything. You don't know everything. So that's why you're there. That's why your audience are there, for you to connect with them, ask questions. Instagram even has this tool, this question tool that you can use to just, engage with your audience. And then one major tip that I'm going to leave with you when it comes to understanding your client's pain point is knowing who your clients are and understanding how they think would help you determine the kind of content that you create that would then give you the most engagement. Because if I can relate with your content, if I can say that, oh, you just helped me solve a problem, I will want to come back for more. And then from there, I will begin to interact with your post and with your page. And then from there, I'll begin to say, oh, this person also does this, does that. Then by the time you're selling to me, I won't feel like you're just trying to use me, or you're just trying to play me, because I know that you've already served me value. You've already given me something to solve one of my problems or some of my problems. So those are some of the ways to be able to create content, understand your client's pain point. All right. So the way I structure this is to just give you tips. So some of the tips that I'm actually talking about right now is that you need to understand that think of content as, what are the problems? What problems am I solving for my customers today? So an idea say that you can never run out of content ideas as long as you're always looking at things from your client's perspective. So you can never run out of content ideas as long as you're always looking at, how do you serve this particular target audience? What do they need? So business is all about, no matter what type of business or a brand, it's all about solving a problem and meeting a need. Then before we go into all other aspects or all other tips, I would like to take this out of the way, that there are different types of contents that you can create in this life. There are lots of contents, and I'm not this particular webinar is not to help you, it's to help you determine what kind of contents work for your business. But I'm just going to let you know that as much as there are different types of contents, you need to avoid getting overwhelmed by trying to do all of this at the same time. So you want to stick with what you know. You want to stick with what works for you. And for the sake of this webinar, we're looking at social media. And if you look at it now, social media, videos work best. But that doesn't mean that if you're a shy person, you have to always show your face. There are different forms of videos that you can create that doesn't even require you putting out your face. It doesn't even require you showing up. And there are other forms of content that you can also create that doesn't even require videos, and they will still generate the kind of leads that you want. Because if you're consistently churning out value, so you want to pick 2, 3, or 3 types of content that you want to start from and start with, so you don't get overwhelmed. And don't try to be on all platforms. Choose at least maybe 2, 3 platforms that work best for you. For me, because I am more of an educator, I love to use YouTube a lot. So I either create blog posts and use YouTube, and then take small bits of those content and post them on social media, like my Instagram, my Facebook. I really don't even use Facebook a lot. It's just recently that I started saying, okay, let me go back to Facebook. And I don't use TikTok because I'm using Instagram already. So you don't have to be on every platform, especially when you just know, first thing you need to know, understand your audience, know where they're going to. For my own kind of audience, the best place I can find my kind of audience is always YouTube, because I'm more of an educator. So if you're looking for educational content, most of the time, where most people go to is either they go to YouTube or they go to Google to search for, how do I do this? How do I do that? And you want to understand that when you're coming from an educational perspective, you want to know what platforms. So your social media or your Instagram will now be like a front to draw in the attention of the people that you want to be able to see your content or see what you do. So something to keep in mind is that content that resonates with your audience will lead to more conversions. So when you understand your audience and you know what they want, and you begin to deliver value or deliver consistent content that appeal to that particular kind of audience, definitely it will always lead to more conversions. By the time, and we're going to talk about how to generate conversions from your content, how to now create that funnel in which, okay, after you have started creating content, how do you now begin to convert these same people who are just passers-by to potential leads that now convert to sales? And I'm going to show you some of the steps that you can take to be able to do that. Now, before we go into content that generate leads, I decided to do a bit of case studies and just do examples. So in the chats, can you just let me know what you do? And do we have any business owners here? Okay, so Hi, so Chinye from Lagos. Okay, Rolly from Lagos. How to create content to help my business. All right. So I'm just going through some of the things. So I'm an abstract artist. So if Kike from Ogun State, thank you so much for joining. So if you were into okay, food process, just let me know what kind of business you are doing. Just mention if you're into fashion, you're into you're a creative, maybe you are an audio engineer, or you are a fashion business. If you are maybe personal brand, maybe you want to like, create content for your personal brand, just put it in the chat and let me know what that is. Music producer, audio engineer. Yeah, thank you. I sell accessories. So fashion, you're more fashion. Okay, food catering. All right. Audio engineer, that's good. Okay, so yeah. All right, good. So this is a very diverse group. All right, so personal, and I have people who want to do personal content also. So that's great. That's great. So the first one I have 3 case studies to use here. And I think by the time we go through all of this, a lot of us would be able to pick 1 or 2 things from this. And the first one I have here is if you are a business, or maybe you have a fashion business, or you have products and services. Let's say you have products that you sell, and you want to be able to create content around that. So some of the content tips I would share for, let's say for a fashion business will be, first thing is identify, let's say Sade, we're using Sade, right? And Sade is somebody who loves to look fashionable. And Sade wants to be able to, Sade is looking for style inspirations. And most of the time, if you look at platforms that people go to, for myself and a lot of people around me, is they go to Pinterest or they go to Instagram to look at style inspiration. So you might want to stick with platforms like Instagram and Pinterest as a fashion business, or somebody who has products that is picture based, because you want to showcase some of these products. And the first thing is, for a fashion business, is Shadi likes to dress well, and she would often go online to look for style inspiration. So your first content would be sharing style inspiration. So the first thing is, you're not even thinking of selling first. You are thinking of how to help your customers, because that's the best way. That's the best way to sell. That's the best way to sell without even selling. The moment they can trust you because they understand your content and because you are delivering value, they would trust your business. And by the time you start selling, they go for it immediately because they trust you, because they've been able to see that you are always delivering value. So it's more like a ripple effect when you commit to content creation. And then you share styling tips. You're like, okay, 5 ways to rock our midnight gown. I'm talking about that. And then I say, oh, okay, 5 ways to rock our gele. If you're using gele and accessories to an Owambe event, so you use yourself, or find maybe one of your staff who is willing to go live on video, and just put your camera down and just shoot somebody using your product. Because if you cannot use your own product as the person creating it, how do you expect people who are just meeting you for the first time to know how to use it? So you want to be relatable. You want to like keep it like, you don't have to be too serious about content. So 5 ways you can just say, okay, 5 ways to rock our midnight gown. Show them different ways to style it. It makes it easier. All right. And then, Owambe tips, because everybody goes to, most people, not everybody does Owambe, goes to every Saturday for events. So you want to create stuff around that. You want to create style inspirations, and then provide value. Educate your audience on how to use your product. So let's say you're selling bags, or you're selling let's say you're selling self-care products. So as somebody who's selling self-care products, you want to show your clients how to use your self-care product. So you want to create how-to videos, you want to share tips, educate your clients on how to use your products, because by the time you educate them, then it makes it easier for them to say, okay, and then you can share benefits of how your products would enhance their life, or make them look better, or make them look good. Or when they rock your bag, how does a woman, okay, so let's say the name of your fashion stuff is Sade or something. I'm using Sade a lot. I don't know what Sade did to me, but you're like, how will a Sade woman feel when she carries the Sade bag or something? So you want to let your clients see the benefit of using your products. So you want to provide value in that way. So that way you're creating contents around, how to use our products, how to rock the so and so bag, how to rock our dress, how to do this in different ways. And then another way to connect with your audience is to show your process. I know that it's not easy for everybody to be online all the time, but show your process, let people know how you create your stuff. Nobody is going to steal your ideas, though. Don't worry. That's one thing. I know a lot of people are scared of that, but just maybe a 1-minute video of your process of, okay, how you get your materials, you do your sewing, then you move on. Just a day in your life of how you create your process. It creates a connection between you and your clients. And then another thing that is very common, which is general for everybody, is to always publish consistently. I'm not saying that you should post 3 times a day, but be as consistent as possible. Choose quality over quantity and always put your best contents forward. But the thing is, don't overthink it. As much as possible, be spontaneous, because people don't even want you to overcalculate the ideas that you are dropping. So you want to be sure that, okay, as much as you're consistently putting things out, you're also being relatable, right? Then we have what we call user generated content. And this is more like people have used your products before. You don't have to start from the scratch, right? Yeah. So just ask some of your clients to send you pictures of them wearing your clothes or of them using your products that you can share, because that way it makes your business more real. People can relate and say, oh, you're not just using models to wear your clothes. You're using regular people, regular body shape, regular body types, wearing your clothes, carrying your bag, doing different stylings with your bag. So that way you're using generated content. That's what we call user generated content. You're not creating from scratch. You're just taking contents that people have already posted that are relatable to your brand and to your business. And then if you can also take any type of content. It doesn't have to be that your clients already only people who are wearing your clothes or only people who are wearing your stuff. You can use different people's content, but the caveat there is to always give credit to the person who wrote the content, because that's the only way to, because you don't want somebody to use your own content without giving credit to you. All right. So I think these are some of the ways that you can do for fashion business. So now let's look at personal brands, right? The only thing I would say for personal brands is it's personal, it's you. So be the content. You are the content. Be the content. I think you should first highlight what are you passionate about? What are the things that you really want to share? How do you want people to see you? Those are the things that you should be thinking about, and keep it light. You can even share, if you see a post that resonates with you, you can quote the post and put it up and then reference the person who shared the post. It's simple. In this life, instead of trying to overcalculate the type of content you want to be the content, share your, for me as a person, I'm more of a fitness person. So I'm very enthusiastic about fitness. I love shoes, I love boots. And you can see me, if I want to put up something, I would tell people that, okay, I love boots. I can display stuff like that and tell people that, okay, this is something that I really like. So share what you like. You will find your people. That's one thing about creating personal brands. Share what you like. Are you a fitness person? Just do a video of you working out. Do a video of you at work, a day in your life, how you plan your day, how you do this, some things that people can relate and learn from. So that's the best way to develop a personal brand. Be the content. Then now let's move on to some of us who are audio engineers, musicians and bands. And if you look at that, most of the time, musicians, audio engineers and bands, while you're working, you don't have the time to actually be creating content. Right? It's always very hard when you're lifting speakers, carrying this and moving around. You're not thinking about, I want to put my phone somewhere so that I can record myself. You're also not, so it makes it difficult for a lot of musicians or a lot of audio engineers to be able to create content. But I figured out, because I had to look at it and say, okay, what are other ways that I can actually tell people what I do, even if I'm not able to, create content on set where I am. So what I've learned, these are some of the tips that I use is, number one, most of the events you've worked on, definitely there would be pictures from the events. There will be people who would, at least the event manager or somebody would have pictures. So you can request for some of these pictures and showcase them and tell people that some of the projects that you've worked on, it makes it easier that way. Then for musicians, you see, be intentional about your content. So the first thing, I'm going to make an example of some musicians that I know who and bands who just record themselves. It doesn't have to be doing a show. Maybe at home they do a live a recording of do a cover of a particular song that they like, and they post it, and from there people will see what you do. People will be able to say, oh, this guy is good. I can ask him to, record or play a guitar on my upcoming album or do this. So that way you're showcasing your work. And as an audio engineer, if you are a mixing engineer like FOH, have your laptop, record multi-track, and show. And then you don't have to, I know that during the show, you don't have the time to, but you can record multi-track so that at the end of the day, you can go back to it and then post it and then maybe balance it and mix it and let people know, okay, this is your view, your sound or sound from the event that you've done. Because that's the way, what exactly qualifies you as an audio engineer is if you're able, the kind of sound you're able to, if people enjoy the sound that you are pushing out there, if people can relate, if people like your sound. So it's all about audio. So you want to put that out, show people that, okay, you're good at what you do. And then another way, let's say if you're on set, some of the things that I do is to do a before and after setup. So I can just take video of, okay, the loading, where everybody is bringing, just short videos. It doesn't take you 30 seconds to create that kind of a video. Use your smartphone, just take 30 seconds of videos of people on set, and then maybe during the setup, if you have some break, definitely you would have some break. Pick up your phone again, just do a random video of the set again, and then do a before and after. Let people see, and then talk about how your process, talk about how you guys came in and you set these things up, some of the challenges you went through, but how you were able to, how you're able to overcome them. And those are the ways to be able to, to create content without having to overthink it, without having to do too much. And then share user-generated content. So if you're not interested in, teaching people like myself, because I teach people, there's a lot of content I can create, but you want to also share helpful tips for, for artists. If you're looking to work with artists, you need to confirm, okay, what are the things artists are looking for online? They're probably looking for, okay, how can I record this? Or how can I be able to do basic EQ without having to look for an engineer all the time? You can give them tips like that. And at the end of the day, they're like, you know what? I don't want to do this by myself. Oh, this guy just gave me some valued tips. It must be very good. And then they reach out to you. So those are the ways that you can actually, build that, because content helps you build trust. And then be relatable. You can also share projects that you've worked on. You can work on, you don't have to always create from scratch. You follow other platforms. You can share their content to your audience and just reference them, and give your own take about some of the things that they've said. And then you don't always have to post only audio engineering stuff. There are other things you're passionate about. Talk about them, post them, let people know the person behind the brand. Let people see you as a person and not just, a facade of just because an audio engineer. You're a person, be relatable. And then always plan ahead. I know it's not easy because when you get on set, there's no time, but plan ahead, invest in a good camera phone, and be intentional about what you want. Okay, so these are some examples of pages of people who are audio engineers. Like this particular man is T. Oladeyin, is the audio engineer or sound engineer for Burna Boy. And what it does is, I know he doesn't even have the time to do, but you will see that when he's at the FH stand, it just stationed this camera somewhere, right? And I'm very sure he's recording this sound. He's like, okay, my view, my sound from my point, from my view, and people can listen to it directly from a mobile phone. You didn't have to do too much. So you can, if you're an FOH engineer, you can just do that. Then I have somebody who is a music producer. And what he does is he creates covers. He does covers of music. He creates a class. It's like, okay, so I sampled a classic and he said, okay, this is one of my favorite songs, and people are engaging with it. He just sits down in his home studio and creates all of this content. So you have, if you want to showcase who you are, you have to also be intentional about, improving yourself and, showcasing your projects, showcasing some of the things that you are good at. And then these are some of mine. What I did was, I didn't even have the time to do to show my face in this video, and I just did, okay, sound check, just break down my process of when I'm on set. What are the things that needs to be done? I know that there's loading, there's sound check, so I just create short videos and put them together as an Instagram reel, and I talked about my process and talked about my project. And then for me, because I'm here to help audio engineers, help musicians, I'm more of an educator. I also create educational content, and this is just something I just created on Canva and posted it on Instagram. So those are different ways that you can actually create content, or content tips and examples for audio engineers and creatives. Now, so when you think about content and you understand who your audience is, you've done all this, the next thing you want to do is select your channels, right? I've been mentioning some of the channels that comes easily to you. As a business person, if you're a fashion designer, you'll know that the major channel you'll be focusing on is either you're doing Instagram, or you're using Pinterest, or you are using TikTok. So it depends on your characteristics. It depends on how, if you're not camera shy, you might want to explore videos and all. But if you're camera shy, there's nothing wrong with doing pictures. There's nothing wrong with taking videos of your process. You don't have to show your face, just show your process of how you're doing, of how you're working how you're designing, how you're creating your accessories, how you bring everything together, so people see your process, see you doing it. And have a primary channel. Stick to at least maybe 2. Start with, in fact, let me break it down. Start with 1, so that you don't get overwhelmed. Start with 1 platform first. And then from there, you can then build out to other platforms. So if it's Instagram you're comfortable with, start with Instagram. Don't be scared that there's people on Twitter. No, start with Instagram. Your people will find you as much as you're consistent on that platform. All right. So I don't overthink it. Don't be all over the place. And then another thing, the beautiful thing about it is you can repurpose the same content on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on TikTok. So you can create just 1 content and put it on all of these platforms. So the best thing is to first figure out what kind of content you want to put out, and determining your platforms will not be a big problem at the end of the day. Then when we're talking about the next thing after creating your content is to understand that, okay, there's a purpose behind that content, right? There's something you want to achieve with this particular content. And you're looking to, let's say you're looking to drive sales or convert just the regular passerby to leads. And the best way to do that is to use a call to action. So what we call a call to action is more like telling people what you want them to do, the kind of action you want them to take on that particular post. Let's say you made a post about using 5 ways to use our head gear or gele. Yes, 5 ways to style our dress. And you've given them the 5 ways to style it. You can then let them know that, okay, send us a DM to get yours. You have included a call to action, and make sure that your call to action is as clear as possible. State what you want. Use verbs in your CTAs and make it obvious that you are actually asking them to do something at the end of that particular content. And these are some of the examples of CTAs that you can use. You can use buy now, you can use schedule a call if you're maybe a consultant, or if you're somebody who does, if you're a consultant or an educator, you can do book an appointment. If you have, a physical store, or then you can do send a DM. That's as simple as that. Ensure that you say it. You would think people know that, oh, I'm promoting, they should know that they're supposed to buy. No, you have to tell them so that they know that, oh, okay, this person is not just showing us tips of how to do stuff. At the end of the day, you're telling them, directing them to buy. That's the way to convert this audience that are engaging with your post to leads, and then at the end of the day, be able to convert them to people who would now buy your product. You can use sign up today. You can use download my free ebook. You can use join free for a month. Like my webinar right now is a form of content. It's a way of me showing you what I can do and how I can help you. And at the end of the day, you learn from me. I'm delivering value while letting you know what I do. So you can say shop now, and then so these are different ways. And then for maybe musicians, you can do, hire me for your gig. I know it's very hard to say, you don't want to sound salesy, but showcase who you are, and then tell people that, okay, you are available for, for work, available for soft life, but you're available for work and they should work with you. So it's very important that you include a call to action at the end of your content, and to ensure that people are engaging and you're generating leads. Then there's what we call the 80-20 rule, because we just talked about content and it looks like, oh, all these contents are we're just sharing educational posts, we're just doing this. But the best way to do marketing is to have this mindset, the 80-20 mindset, where you're creating content that drive engagement. 80% of your content should always be about what? Delivering value to your clients. You'll be surprised that that's the best way to engage with people. When people are able to come to your page and they're like, oh, this person is going to help me when it comes to styling, I know who to go to. When it comes to this, and they know that, okay, this person also has products that would help me look good. And then you use 20% of it to do what? To sell. So let's say you create a post of how to record yourself, and you gave them tips. At the end, you can now say, okay, if you want someone, so like an audio engineer who is a mixing engineer, you can then say, okay, at the end of the day, if you want mixes for your recording, you can reach out to me and I'll be able to mix your recordings. That way, you've given them tips, they've gotten value, but at the end, you're still selling. You're telling them that, okay, you know what, this is what I can do for you at the end. So it's always, you practice the 80-20 rule, deliver value most of the time, and then sell at the end of your value, or at the end of the day. Then the next thing about creating content, I know that I'm just trying to make sure that you all get some of the valuable tips for creating content on the go, and for you to never run out of content, is to always, gather ideas, like always write down ideas. Ideas are cheap by the dozen. They're like, you can get it from anywhere, from anything, and always have a content plan, because it's always good to create in batches. Let's say block out maybe like 1 hour or 2 hours in your week to write down some of the things that you want to do, like for the week. As you plan your business, you're also planning your content also. This will help you simplify your creative process, because you're creating in batches. Let's say this Saturday by 12 to 2, you're sitting down to create content, like writing it down, and then you're like, okay, so you have content for Monday to Friday already sorted. You're not thinking about, on the spot, what am I supposed to post tomorrow? You've already written out a content plan, and then use themes and goals. Most of the time, it makes it this makes it easier, because at the end of the day, you want to always have a goal. You remember when we started, we're like, what's your goal for the week? Let's say for this week, your goal is you want to sell so amount of bags, right? Maybe you want to sell 10 bags. Okay, so that means that you need 10 people to convert as customers. And what kind of content are you supposed to put out? So every content you're putting out is talking about how to use your bags. Even if it's light-hearted content, you're promoting your bags. You're like how to use your bags, or how to style bags, how to style the Sade bag or something. I'm just using Sade as, let's say that's the name of the bag that you're selling. How to style the Sade bags. And at the end of the day, you're telling people, and then you're giving sales, like, okay, maybe Black Friday sales. And that way you're telling people that, okay, if you can reach out to us by the end of today and get percentage. So you already planned your content for that week. You know that all your goal for that week is to sell and to ensure that people know about your bags. Or let's say your goal for this month is that people know that you are an audio engineer, right? So what you're going to be doing for that month is to showcase your work, right? Intentionally sit down. You have a laptop. You don't have to always be on set to be able to, do mixes. Look at some live recordings that you've done before and see how you can rebalance it and put it up and say, okay, you know what, I can help you, create live recordings and also, mix your sound, and just showcase some of the products. But be careful if your client is not somebody that wants to release. Yeah, so you have to be careful in that area also. but you can showcase projects you've done before. And then you can even showcase yourself talking about what you do. It's that simple. So those are ways that to be able to, work with themes and goals and create a content plan, and then have a calendar. A simple Google Calendar to say, okay, on Monday, this is what I want to do. On Tuesday, this is what I'm posting. On Friday, on this is what I'm posting. It makes it easier for you to be able to create content, structure your content in a well arranged manner. One thing about driving engagement, we've been talking about content. Okay, you've been creating this content. How do you stay consistent? Be consistent. I'm not talking about creating content and writing for every day, like maybe every day. It doesn't have to be every day. It could be that, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are your main days for posting out content. And it could be that you only have a day to post content. You just be consistent with it. If it's weekly that you're going to be posting about, at the end of the day, you have to know that the more consistent you are, the more you show up, the more people will see you. So your consistency has to increase. Maybe you find somebody who would be helping you, or you look for a scheduling platform, which is some things that I'm going to talk about later, how to schedule your post. You don't even have to be there. It will just be, posting it even while you're not there. That's why you can block out 2 hours to schedule and plan your post. And always have a budget for marketing. As long as you can, as much as you can create good content, there's always a place for marketing, because if you are just starting out, you need to be able to push your content. Except you are a stand-up comedian, most of the time if you're a business, it's always not easy to be able to get in the face of people without doing proper online promotions. Even comedians do promotions, they promote their content. So you have to also promote your content, and then choose quality over quantity. Now, talking about content, talking about all of these things, how do you now create this content? Because I know that that's another problem. A lot of people are, okay, I know what I want to create, but how do I create it? I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know how to use graphics, but I want to create content. I'm not a video editor. I don't know how to edit videos. I'm not this, I'm not that. Those are excuses. But the thing is, there are tools that you can use that all you just need is your smartphone. And I'm going to talk about that tool right now. And that tool is actually what I call Canva. I will tell you that I used Canva to create these particular slides I'm sharing with you. So Canva is like a content creation machine. Like it's your go-to tool for anything content creation, for content planning, scheduling your content. I've been using Canva for over 7 years now, and I can tell you that they keep growing. After this is not an ad for Canva, but it's just to tell you my experience with it. And I've been creating content from social media posts to website posts to presentations to branding to logos to everything with this particular tool. And it's very, very easy to use, but sometimes you might get lost in it. And that's why I am here for you. And that's the reason why I'm doing this. So if you want to create content and you want to schedule your content without having to go through too much, without having to look for a graphic designer, you don't even have to I don't have any background in graphic design. I just have a good eye. I know what I want to create, and I just create it. And I learn on the job. So you can also do that. You don't have to know, because there are templates that you can also use. So some of the major tools, my top tools for content creation is Canva and Grammarly, because you don't want to go and be committing blunder as a professional, right? Let's say your major platform is LinkedIn. You don't want to go and be committing blunder on LinkedIn. So you want to use Grammarly to edit and ensure that your whatever you're writing is grammatically correct. And Canva is like your go-to tool for content creation, design, creating designs, creating Instagram reels, as in you can create all your videos on Canva. Is a major app that you can actually use. I'm not doing ad for them, but this is something that I use that makes much more sense to me. And I feel like I should share with people where it makes it easier for you to be able to, you don't have to do too much, because there is a template that you can use. There are tons of templates that you can use, and makes your designing process simpler and easy. And you don't have to stress over looking for, a content creator or looking for a graphic designer to interpret what you're trying to say. So that's just one of my best tool for creating content. So now that we've talked about all of these things, I just mentioned some of the things that we mentioned where for you to create content, you have to know your goals. Why are you creating this content? What exactly do you want to achieve with creating this content? You have to know your audience. Who are you creating the content for? You know, who exactly is your target audience? Understand your buyer persona. Sit down and craft a buyer persona. And it's not that hard. The best thing to do is to understand your ideal customer and what they like. You can even use yourself as your buyer persona. So if it's a passion project for you, maybe the first thing you can actually do is, okay, I am my client, let's say you're selling a bag. Okay, Sade is maybe she's and you're targeting women actually. So she's a woman. Maybe she's a working class woman who also loves to go out on the weekends and loves to be able to carry fashionable bags, and that's what you sell. Or you have accessories that she can rock with her clothes. And so you're going to be thinking of, what is Sade looking for? She's looking for styling experiences, styling things, and where are the platforms that she's going to? Maybe Pinterest, Instagram, to find people who resonate with the kind of style that she wants. You can tell her, okay, you can show her some of the things. Then from there, you're pinpointing some of her pain points and some of her interests. And you're like, okay, if you can create content around that, you're like, okay, 5 ways to style this, 5 things to know, or 5 things to have in your bag when you're going for an Owambe party. You also have to have an handkerchief, so you can say that then you can tie that around your type of bag or the bags or your accessories that you're selling, some of the things that can be useful for that. And then that's the way to just, understanding who your clients are, understanding what they want, where they are, would help you to be able to create content on the go. And then when you now discover that how to create this content and you have your content ideas, now you're looking for how do you want to create it? And the best way that I can think of, the best tool I can think of, is to use Canva, because it makes it easier. You have templates, you don't have to start from scratch, and you don't have to look for a graphic designer. It makes it easier for you to be able to create your content. And if you already use Canva, can you give me a thumbs up? If you know about it, give me a thumbs up. If you want to learn about how to create content, quality content with ease, I'm going to be sharing some of my next steps in the few minutes right now. So next steps actually is to understand, okay, so Funke uses Canva, and I'm going to be doing a workshop, another workshop, which is more of the reasons why I decided to do this pre-workshop for everybody. Is if you're ready to start creating content with ease, the next step is to sign up for my Canva workshop. And in this Canva workshop, I'm not just going to be showing you how to design. I'm going to be showing you the different types of designs you can create and how to use it, for any type of content you want to create. Instagram reels, videos, presentations, maybe even designs for stage management, maybe for creating input lists, for creating invoices. I can tell you that I practically create all of my designs on Canva. So all of these things are things that I will be sharing in this new workshop that I'm going to be doing. And after this, we're going to go into some question and answer. So stick around. I'm going to be answering all of your questions. So if you're interested in the Canva workshop, it's just for 15,000 naira only. You can get access to it. And it's going to be starting I'm going to be doing this workshop on December 3rd, which is actually on next week, Saturday. So for anyone joining this particular webinar right now, I'm going to be talking about how to create, content design, Instagram posts, reels, videos, and even creating a one-page website. And also, apart from that, I'm going to, today I shared a case study, like a broad case study of content. But in that, if you sign up for this, I'm going to be giving you a personalized 7-day content plan for your business. So I'm going to give you content that you can post from Monday to Friday and how you can structure that content. And so originally the cost is going for 60K, but because you're joining this webinar, you're getting it for 75% off. That's a special offer, and you can register right here. So some of my clients, these are some of the testimonials from my clients. I don't just teach you how to use the Canva. I'm going to teach you how to figure out the colors that work for your brand, you know, how to ensure that you can even create several types of videos from your, you know, from your page, for your page and for your content. All right, so if you're ready to start creating with ease, you can just sign up here on paystack.com/buy/Canva360. All right, and you get 75% off right now. So I'm going to leave it in the chat, but I've come to the end of my presentation. Right now, I'm going to be answering your questions. So if you have questions, you can raise your hand. And if you want to talk, you can open your mics and then we'll talk. Or if you just want to chat or leave it in the chat, you can leave your questions in the chat. All right. Okay, so that's it. If you're interested in the Canva workshop, you can just go here and paystack.com/buy/Canva360. So I've come to the end of my presentation and I'm going to just be answering questions for